Hello and welcome to the ATF Cast. That's anything that fires. Here we discuss firearms, science, the day-to-day, and whether you'd like it or not, we sure don't, politics. The bounds are unscribed, the beliefs full of dis, and the bifocals simply unacceptable. We are a pinch of a halava and a heaping cup of I don't know what the fuck is going on. So, join us on the journey of nonsense and an attempt to learn more while we try our best to put on a smiling face, keep our eyes upon the moon, and ride the waves of entropy in this ever-changing world. We are the ATF Cast, and we're just having fun. I'm your host, Evan, and as always, we are joined today by your lovely co-host, Matt. That's my dad. How are you doing today?
I'm lovely, apparently. So, doing well.
Apparently. How's the weather
I
up
don't
there?
know. It's nice. Probably, I don't know, less than 40, but it's sunny and feels pretty good.
That's good to hear. I just got a solid cramp in my foot, so I'm having a moment right now.
Oh, well, you go ahead with that solid cramp. I mean, barometric pressure. I mean, you want me going a full forecast or just say it's sunny and nice out? We'll stick
Perfect.
with that.
How
All right.
how was your week in general?
Uh, Laid back. Didn't do too much. So it was a good week in general.
Good to hear. And good
Yeah,
to
I
see.
think so. Nice to be seen.
Uh, Absolutely. Oh, now I'm getting tangled up. Things are going well today. So today we have a special guest, one of our favorite people. Um,
Awesome.
yeah, so bourbon is a spirit that comes in a glass. Well, have you heard about a spirit that comes in a body? Have you met the queen of bourbon country? Have you had the chance to argue the hot dog's place in the sandwich world? I suppose many have been missing out. Brie, a soft cow's milk cheese with a white grayish color found under a rind of white mold. Sorry, excuse me. I found the wrong Wikipedia page. Brianna Hlava, a social genius, a Chipotle mastermind, one that outgrew mundanity and grew into a queen with the hair of a shag swagger. The proclaimed by others royalty of bourbon country itself. Betty, oh, excuse me there, bud. Midwesterner turned pimp of taste and hangover recovery in the shallow South. Business connoisseur and flavor engineer of Louisville, Kentucky, who turns heads and absorbs hoots and hollers on the ancient streets of the largest city in the Commonwealth of Kentucky. Please welcome the one and only Brie Halava.
Hi.
Yay. Hello.
Thank you for the best introduction I've ever received.
That is good to hear. And wrote that under the influence of IPA.
That makes sense.
Happy to see you here. How's your day going?
Great to be here. My day's off to a great start. Still early hours for us bartenders, so I did manage to. I've already had a meeting today and got to see some pals and work some details out for some events coming up here. And it's a beautiful day. It's sunny. It's warm. Gonna enjoy some dinner on a patio tonight. And Kentucky's dealing with a lot of flooding right now, but we're not really part of that in Louisville here, so feels pretty lucky.
Good. I actually had no idea that there was a flooding situation going on.
Mm-hmm.
Have you been receiving a lot of rain?
Kentucky is under a lot of water right now. It's got an emergency situation, so it's nice here up in the north.
Well, that is amazing. So, we brought you here today mostly to discuss food and booze. Here on Anything That Fires, we talk about guns and science and rockets and things, but also love to partake in food and booze, as most people do. So, we're going to twist the name a little bit. Imagine a grill being fired up, and we're going to talk a little bit about all of your culinary and bartending successes down there in Louisville. So, I'd like to start with what brought you down to Louisville and how you got started in the business.
Yeah, so I was going to college in Kent State University, and pretty quickly found that going from Columbus, Ohio, the largest city in the state, to Kent, one of the smallest communities in the state, was not really going to cut it for me. I was pretty bored pretty quickly, so I started looking elsewhere. I was kind of looking at like cities my thing was, where can I move that I can get home in a day if I need to? So I kind of started pinpointing some cities around Columbus, and went to, I think Louisville was the second city I visited, and I was here for maybe a couple hours when I was already in love with it before I saw university or anything. It just kind of, the city's got life to it. It's got a vibe. It's really unique, but also had a lot of things that reminded me of home. So it was a pretty easy decision. Came down, and I think within the first year, I accidentally got a job at one of, like a now nationally world-renowned whiskey bar, the Silver Dollar, as a hostess. And I think, it didn't take very long from that for me to really realize that I loved, the fast pace, like I love restaurant environment, and I was learning things quicker and, than I was at school, and really just kind of fell into the passion of it and was swept away. And it's been 7 years now in Louisville, and I would say about 6 years now behind a bar and doing what I love.
Awesome. What were you going to school for?
At the time, I was going to school for American Sign Language and different cultural studies. My goal then was to have a career with the Peace Corps. I wanted to travel and experience different cultures. So
And you
still get to do that here in Kentucky. So
absolutely, that's awesome.
Yeah.
And you've bounced around quite a bit since you've been working down there.
Yes, I've built my resume. I've really been fortunate. Like everywhere that I've worked I've fallen in love with and spent a good amount of time there. Every place has been a really great like building block and learning lesson for me, and all good experiences.
Excellent.
Starting in the Silver Dollar as a hostess, what exactly was the catalyst that got you behind the bar and started mixing drinks?
I guess as a hostess, like I was at the time I was very young. I think I was working there maybe before I was even drinking age. So there was always this kind of like air about the bartenders. Like they had like this knowledge treasure trove that I wanted to unlock. Like, if you ever have the pleasure of sitting at the bar at the Silver Dollar, there's hundreds of bottles of bourbon on top of everything else. And there's always this like really kind of beautiful, like magical glow to it. And they always looked like they're having the most fun out of anybody on, any given night. So I think I from hostess, I became a server and really thrived and loved that. I love the rest of it, running around, talking to people. And then they were very strict at the time, hire within, like they really wanted to like build and invest in their employees. So when it came time to need another bartender, which was rare, they opened up interviews, and, I had to do the whole thing, submit a resume, even though I was currently an employee, and interview. And I was selected and offered the position. And from there, I spent about 3 months of training to get to, be able to be fully behind the bar. And when that was complete, I was there for, I think, a year and a half, 2 years.
Nice.
Yeah. So very, kind of that's home for me. I'm excited, with COVID, everything's been shut down. So the Silver Dollar's been closed for the year, and I just found out today they're going to be opening soon. So it'll feel good to be able to go back home for a little bit.
Woo-hoo.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's going to be great.
I'm excited.
There's going to be an energy almost as exciting as you in the place.
Thank you. Yeah, I won't be there, but I'll be dining in. So
yeah,
I'm looking forward to it.
What was the first beverage within the walls of the Silver Dollar that really kind of got you hooked on the taste of Kentucky itself?
Oh, I remember exactly, and I'll tell you the same story that I tell new bartenders I'm training, or anybody else that I see in those same shoes. So pardon I'm going to be explicit in this. Right when I turned 21, at the bar, we kind of, so there's a shot of the day there, and it was always kind of like, it was like, for loved but forgotten whiskeys, like bottom shelf hangouts, and there was a really cool sense of like camaraderie and family. So it's like, okay, it's birthday, like pretty sure like service stopped in the restaurant, like everybody on staff has a shot. And that night we were shooting Old Granddad Bottled in Bond, and I was still probably drinking like rum. I was not a whiskey girl living in Kentucky. And I remember that my first legal shot of Old Granddad 100, and threw it back. And I died a little inside, but also like was reborn. And I think I remember being like, that just made my nipples hard. And everyone was like, that's how you know it's good whiskey. And I was like, I love this business. I'm in. So, and it's the tradition every year I come home for Christmas, I bring a bottle of Old Granddad and a 6-pack of Ale 8, our Kentucky ginger ale.
Which is one of my favorite parts of Christmas every year.
Yeah, so sorry, Dad, but that's the truth.
No, that's fine. That's fine. I always say the same thing. You can tell a good bourbon by how tight your nipples get.
It's a rule of thumb, honestly.
Hey, if it works, it's fantastic, right? I had the hiccups last week, and I couldn't get rid of them. Nice shot of honey bourbon. Didn't hiccup again. Just one solid shot out of the bottle. My bottle, I can do what I want. And it cures the hiccups as well. So, yeah, I totally understand.
Yeah, learned that from you. There's a bottle of Baron Jaeger on my bar at home.
Ooh, good stuff.
That's like the embodiment of the two historical Hlava medical remedies, honey and bourbon.
Absolutely.
It's gotten us this far.
So getting behind the bar and starting to learn how to make all these different beautiful cocktails. Of course, your introduction to bourbon was Old Granddad Bonded, OGD, which is amazing. What was your favorite, let's say fancy cocktail, for lack of a better term, to make?
Yeah, I really loved the Silver Dollar. Was kind of, let's see, they did Kentucky Mules in a really unique way. They served them like a classic mint julep, so it was like crushed ice in a metal tin and stuff. And Kentucky Mule usually is just like a spirit topped off with ginger beer and like maybe a lime is thrown in there, but not the Silver Dollar. It's all of those components, like it's fresh lime juice and like juiced ginger that's like made into a syrup, and high proof bourbon, and served under crushed ice. And it was just like summertime and Christmas in a glass. It was like kind of just everything for me, and it was really beautiful, and it was really fun to serve people. But there's also I remember when I was being trained, they told me like you can bartend when you know how to make a good Sazerac, which is it's like the cocktail of New Orleans. I still don't really like a Sazerac, but I do like one when it's well made. It's very it's a very particular cocktail, and I think that was kind of like, it was like chasing the unicorn for me. I wanted to be able to do that the right way, and serve it to people and them enjoy it and appreciate it. So that kind of created a drive in me to keep going and learning more.
So aside from the amazing bourbon and the great beverages and what I know firsthand as amazing food inside of the Silver Dollar, that being your birthplace, what was your favorite thing outside of the culinary and bartending aspect of working there?
Oh, when I started there, I would have told you that I hated country, but what I meant was I hated, new pop country. Turns out I'm an outlaw, baby. I drove home from work last night. It was a clear sky night, and it was the right time for Patsy Cline. So, I love Waylon and the Boys now. Country music's kind of where we fall right in the middle in our house, between like my indie pop and 80s and Connor's heavy metal. We can always meet in the middle with some outlaw country.
Nice.
Yeah. I would have,
That's awesome.
yeah, grateful for that.
My first time coming down and being able to sit at the customer side of the bar of the Silver Dollar and watch you shake beverages and things. Myself prior, I also hated country, but what I hated was the Ohio uh, back hills country radio stations that just played all the songs that sound exactly the same. And you guys were always playing this awesome outlaw country on vinyl over the speakers, and I
Exactly, yeah.
immediately not only like the music, I was like, oh, this is actually good, but also just tied alongside with the atmosphere. I was like, okay. So now I love country and I love bourbon, and it was like probably a similar experience to yours, although I haven't been able to or been willing to exactly to come down to Kentucky and make that my home. But I was like, wow, this place has a specific atmosphere that just entices you and calls you in. It's very warming and welcoming.
Absolutely. And I think like the warming and welcoming definitely stands out. I'm grateful for the music. I guess that came to mind first, but really the thing that has made that home and has made Kentucky home is when I got that job, like the people that I worked with immediately, those are still my closest friends now, years later. Those are people that I talk to every day, that I travel with, that I was just the woman who ran and still runs that bar program, who really taught me everything, is like, start as a mentor or start as a boss, became a mentor, and is like now a friend. I rushed over here to do this podcast from her house. So it's like really, I think a unique experience that there's a lot of places that are like, oh, we're like a family. But being in that environment at the right time and with the right people really kind of gave me my own family here and made like, the move and living here. I thought I'd be here for a year or two, but I think because of those people, I never left.
Good.
Yeah, sorry, never came back home. But
no, I remember when you came back from your trip down there, and you're like, "Sorry, Papa, I think I'm moving to Kentucky." I said, "You think?" And you're like, "No, I actually am. It is amazing. You should see it." I said, "Okay, congratulations. That's awesome." Yeah.
I wish you could see. I live in the largest historic neighborhood in the country. It's beautiful here. Very lucky.
Awesome.
Well, no, I'm like,
it's beautiful there.
That's in my window.
So, talking about OGD, I think it's probably from a lot of perspectives not really regarded as a high tier bourbon or anything top shelf. In your personal opinion, what are your top 3 bourbons, regardless of their stereotypic perspective?
It's really hard to narrow it down, of course, but I'll give you my. I'm gonna keep. Well, I've already talked about a Grand Nuts. So I'll keep that to the side, but I would say like that's my not guilty pleasure. Johnny Drum 101. That's usually on my home bar. Even if it's on my home bar, if I go out and I see it on the shelf, like I'm probably gonna order that. I really love, if I can find, if anybody's got it, Wild Turkey Rye. That is, I think, an unsung hero of. I love rye and high rye bourbon. Old Granddad is a high rye bourbon, so that's kind of just where my palate leans. And then if I want a little sweetness, a little dessert, this is one that if you asked me 2 weeks ago, I probably wouldn't have thought to say because it's been so long since I had it, but we just were able to bring it on at work. But Henry McKenna, Bottled and Bond 10-year. It's amazing. And then if I was going to really treat myself, it'd probably be like a Willet Rye or like a nice high proof 8-year Willet whiskey. That's where my hand always stops on the back bar.
Now, what makes bourbon? I heard at one point that it can only be called bourbon if it was made in Kentucky in a particular way. What makes bourbon?
So that is, I would say, probably the most common misconception. It can be called bourbon as long as there are several stipulations, but if it's made in America, that's the first one. It doesn't have to be in Kentucky. To be, you have to be made. It has to be made in Kentucky to be called Kentucky straight bourbon.
Okay.
But a bourbon is like, it's America's spirit, so it can be made anywhere in America. It has to go in a new oak container. It has to be, there's different stipulations. Like, it has to come off the still at a certain proof. It has to go into the barrel at a certain proof. It has to be bottled minimum 80 proof. So it's highly regulated. But you can, there's really amazing whiskeys from Vermont and like Wisconsin and Washington and Texas. There's, great bourbons from all over the country. But usually when you think about bourbon, you're thinking about our heavy hitters like, Jim Beam, Woodford Reserve, Maker's Mark, Wild Turkey, like the ones we've always known. And those are all Kentucky straight bourbons.
Gotcha. Okay. So it's a Kentucky straight bourbon that's Kentucky. Makes sense. Okay.
And that's just, it's just kind of a little stipulation or regulation it kind of carries its own weight. One of my favorite things is like, technically Jack Daniel's is a bourbon, but for their like marketing and their pride in their own state, they don't want to be lumped in with that. So they still choose to be labeled as a Tennessee whiskey.
Tennessee, yep. Mm-hmm. So, and then you said you like rye bourbons. I mean, what's the difference? Like malt and there's rye, or?
Yeah, so when you make a bourbon, it has to be at least 51% corn. Outside of that, there's different. You can use different grains, however you want. That's called like the mash bill. And you can have a rye whiskey, but you can't have a rye bourbon. But you can have high rye bourbon, which means like rye is like the flavoring grain is what it's called. It carries, different, usually you're going with like either wheat or rye after corn to make up like the majority. And wheat is sweet, and rye gives like really usually like spice notes. It's packs a bolder flavor and
little bitter undertones, or?
Yes, yeah, definitely. They're kind of, you're always getting that like corn sweetness, but like when you're using wheat, it allows the sweetness of the corn to come through. If you're using rye, it kind of offsets that and creates a different profile.
Nice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so my first time down in Kentucky seems ridiculous, but up here in Ohio, you drink some tap water and it tastes like tap water, what we call it. And it's just something's off about it. Maybe a little bit of chlorine. The first time I was in Louisville, I had some water from your sink, and it just something about it. It was like the best water out of a faucet I've ever had in my life. Is that something that gives good health to your bourbon down there? And why exactly do you guys have such good water?
So, don't quote me on any of this. I'm just gonna like, ramble about it. But I do love, like, when I first moved here, everyone was like, "Welcome to Louisville. We have the best tap water in America." I was just like, that's a weird flex, but okay. But they're right. Everybody gets really excited when winter hits because that means we can drink our water straight from the tap without ice or anything, and it just is like ice cold and fresh and clean. It does lend to why our bourbon is, so good. Kind of part of the history for us. Kentucky is basically one big limestone shelf. And limestone is really good for filtering water, specifically filtering lead out of water. Lead is not good for bourbon. It can even like turn it black. Just kind of ruins everything. So being able to like collect that fresh water that's already filtered from that, and then you go to any distillery and they'll take you to like, this is the stream we get our water from, and they might still be getting that water from it might still be city water, but at one point or really all of us, we're still drinking that like fresh limestone filtered water. You can actually like, we're so proud of it. You can go into sometimes a liquor store and you can buy a bottle of like fresh limestone filtered water. And that's what bourbon's made with it. And a lot of people want to drink their bourbon with it. And it's just, we're really into our water.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
Let's see.
If you haven't had it, try it.
Next time I come down, I'll make sure I bring a couple of bottles to bring back with me. Fill them up from the tap. Ciao.
Mm-hmm. Do a little side by side, a little blind tasting of water. Yeah.
Maybe a pH test when I get back,
Yeah, let me know how it goes.
Yeah, we can really get down to science.
Ooh, that'd be fun. Love science.
Absolutely.
Real quick here, welcome Sick Nick and hello Aunt JoJo. I know you're out there watching.
Hi Nick. Hi JoJo.
All right, so you really got into where you are now, and kind of birthed out of the silver dollar. What was your next stepping stone from that point, and your favorite place to bartend outside of the silver dollar where you learned the craft?
Yeah, I'm not going far from home here. The company that had the silver dollar, they opened the silver dollar is like, it's a whiskey honky tonk. They've got great food, blah blah blah. They then they were like, we're gonna do, let's flip it, and they opened like a little neighborhood dive bar, which is really where I always want to hang out. The smaller spots. I just want to shot in a beer when I'm off, and I love this lovingly. Like the Pearl looks like it's the Pearl of Germantown. The Pearl looks like the 70s threw up in it, and it is just the coolest, most comfortable little shotgun. Well, I guess it's not a shotgun, but a little old house turned into a bar on the corner, intersection of a neighborhood. And I think where the silver dollar taught me like craft cocktails and really like steps of service and what hospitality means, the Pearl kind of let me become my own bartender. Really like gave me the chance to find my own kind of personality, I guess, behind the bar. So there's really no rules at the Pearl. Everybody, you walk in, you're welcome, and the people that come there, it's kind of an industry bar. So like when I was working there, I get the chance to take care of people that care about the same things that I do, or don't, but they work in restaurants too, or whatever. It really is. It was kind of just is more relaxed, and it's kind of always a party. I've got it's a highly respected establishment, but I've got stories on stories and stories of the Pearl. So I think that was really the next step, but also near and dear to my heart. I can't wait until the Pearl opens back up. It's probably going to be a really hard month for the service industry. It will be debauchery. I think everybody misses it. Drink responsibly, but and then I don't remember what else you asked me, but yeah, I mean the Pearl is great. It's still one of my favorites. Anytime somebody comes through town, I'm like, I know exactly where I'm taking you. Anytime somebody wants a recommendation, that's probably the first on my list. Like, before dinner, after dinner, pop in. You just need one, and it's a good time. It's a spot like you go for one, and it's 5 hours later, and you're playing cards with the old guy down the street and his dog. Like it's a really great spot.
That's cool.
Yeah.
That's a great atmosphere.
It is, yeah. I think and it happened really naturally. It's just like good people behind the bar, good people in the neighborhood. It's easy. That's how it is. That's how it is down here, it feels like.
Now, after a long night of drinking and bartending, is there a place in town that is best to go grab a greasy bite and really just kind of get down and dirty? What's your favorite establishment for just hitting the wilder side of drinking?
If I'm skipping dinner, it's still the Pearl. like I said, like it's if we're really going for it, and I'm gonna edit here. I want to say a place that I love, but they really didn't convey a lot of my same like. I don't think they weren't very responsible this year. Let's say that, and so that's a bummer. But I think I maybe took you there, Evan. The back door, chicken wings, pool table, the bartenders. They've been there forever. I love like the slogan of the back door. One, it's like behind a mall. By mall, I mean like a closed down Chinese buffet and like a weird comedy like venue nobody's ever been into, and the shady grocery store, and you go around back, and it really is the back door. You'd only see it by like the awning. Best wings in the city. Pours are heavy and they're cheap. They're open till 4 a.m. They're, the whole space, which is huge, all the walls are covered in small portraits of the regulars, and people have been going there for years. There's a kitchen in the back. You don't need to know, like, just it's great. It's also like a, it's a stop on your way across town. It's great. I miss being able to do that. Where if you don't live in Kentucky, there's other places in the country, of course, but we are 4 a.m. bar town, so you can have dinner at 8 and you don't have to go home until 4. So there's I'm now living in these COVID times. Most places are closing between 10 and midnight, so I'm not ready for it, but I'm excited to go back to a little 4 a.m. time.
You always did enjoy that.
I'm a night owl. I've always been that way. So if I can be out with friends and order dinner and a drink at 3 a.m., cool.
All right, next question here comes from JoJo, the one and only. We keep seeing a little glimpse of the bandage on your arm. Can you tell us about that?
Yes. This is not a tattoo. I wish it was. After 6 years in the industry, I finally got my first work injury. I'd like to, this is like, it's my new badge of honor. I got my stripes. There's lots of jokes going around. Like, I'm a real bartender now. I've finally been stabbed by something.
Not a patron.
Not a patron. Not ruling that out yet. But I was stabbed by a wine glass. Attempted murder. One of the, risks of being a bartender and working with beautiful wine glasses. I was polishing it. It snapped. My hands crossed over, and the stem went in. So got 6 stitches. Told me it probably could have been 8, but she said she was really good at stitches, and she was going for 6. So I
nice.
Yeah, it was an adventure. It's been an exciting week. This happened the night before last night. So I was, it was Friday night. It's great weather out here. We're going to be busy. I think it was maybe 6:30. Polishing some glassware. Snap. I think I just, when something like that happens, you just know, but you don't really know how bad it is. So I was pretty sure I knew what happened, and I just put the wine glass down and grabbed a towel and looked at the other bartender and said, I have to leave. And I work 30 minutes from town. I work in the middle of nowhere. So I went into the kitchen, and the first aid kit was blocked a little bit. And at that moment, looking back, it's like, oh, that's when I knew it was, it was a pretty good cut, because I just didn't know what to do anymore. It's like there's an obstacle, and I'll just sit down. So I'm in the kitchen, and I look over and I said, Chef? And she looked at me and was like, okay, sit down, it's fine, everything's fine. And she asked me to take the towel off, and she just went, you have to go to the hospital. Bless her, she was so calm. I still thought it was just a little stab. I thought maybe it was like a little hole. She had the quick thinking to get a picture of it, and when she showed me, I was shocked. It's pretty gross.
I got a picture.
Yeah, throw it up there. I don't care. I've been asking everybody, do you want to see my guts? Yeah.
Gotta go. Pretty clean.
Yeah. So yeah, it was clean. It was an easy stitch up. The nurses were pretty thrilled about it. One of them said, "Ooh, I love wounds," and asked to take my file. So, yeah, nice, clean little 6 stitches. Got to leave work early. I said, I was like, I'll come back. It's funny. I always thought that I'm always really cool under pressure. I'm the one that helps. I've bandaged up many friends. Yeah, I've been the wound, caregiver many times, but when I always thought I'd be cool when it happened to me, and I was not. I think somebody asked me what hospital I wanted to go to, and I said I'd never been to a doctor before. That's a lie, but I didn't know what to do.
We'll work on that training as well.
Yeah, when they told me they were going to start, anesthetizing me. Is that how you say that? I, without thinking, just yelled out, "I want you to know I'm thinking about Nick Cage."
What? You're adorable.
I'd like to think I was in shock, but I was fine. So, made it out.
I think it's more likely you just often think about Nick Cage.
I won't negate that. I was mad at myself. I was grateful that my phone was charged. It's never charged, but I was also out of gas, which is normal for me. So when I left work, I was driven from work to the hospital, and I got caught in traffic. There was an accident, and I was like, I'm not mad. I hope everybody was okay, but I am bleeding profusely. Nick, good job. It's a great question. I'll read that. Were you trying to steal the Declaration of Independence? No, only one man could do that. Age.
Wow, beautiful.
Oh yeah, that was my first real injury. No broken bones. Never cut myself. Never. They asked me when I last had a tetanus shot. I said, I don't know. And they said, okay, it's probably time for a new one. And I said, what does that mean? And they said, give me an injection. I said, you got a shot. And yeah, I think I'd like to think that I livened up that hospital room that night.
I'm sure that you did.
Yeah.
Yeah, you liven up every room you're in, so I'm sure you did.
Thank you. Wow.
So how many dancers with hip hop?
You go from stitches to dancers?
Well, no, hold on.
Okay. I'm trying to follow. Stitches, Nick Cage, dancers.
With mimosas and hip hop music does it take to break a floor?
Oh, thank you for that. That's just like, oh man.
I'm now intrigued.
I'm so ready to get back to doing what I love the way I love to do it. The answer is I don't know, and I'm really happy that I don't know, because my career would be over. Once upon a time, I had the great fortune of collaborating with some really amazing, talented people and being part of a team to create a brunch party that grew from probably 50 people to over 1,000 people over the course of the year. We moved venues twice, was how large it grew. But the time we knew we needed to move venues is we were in like a 200-year-old grocery store building that was the bar, the Witchertown Social. And it was our most popular. This is Brunch and Beats. Shout out to everybody that helped make that magic. Amazing DJ. And literally the club was like, it was going up on a Sunday. It was probably 1 p.m. We were over capacity easily. And I just remember walking out from the bar and looking at our 200-year-old floor as everybody's jumping up and down to the song, and the floor was just going under everybody. And I knew that under that floor was a minimum 8-foot drop to the subfloor. And I just looked at my partner at the time, my business partner, and I was like, we're done for. Like somebody is going to get hurt. And I thought that was the end. Thankfully, that floor is still going strong. So, but I would say, I mean, there was at least 200 people in the bar that day.
Good thing you have an oak floor.
Yeah, whoever built that was that was maybe the most scared I've ever been in, or been in this business, and I've a lot of things happen. So thank you for bringing up that memory. My heart stopped when you said it.
Absolutely.
Yeah. I like there's like an SNL skit with Will Ferrell, and it's like, I think it's a joke on Ohio University. And they're like talking about the party, but like the deck collapses and like all the fraternity brothers are like buried in the rubble or something. And I just kept thinking about that. I was like, I'm going to be on the news, and I'm Will Ferrell today. We weren't being irresponsible. Like, we were fully within the limits of like what could or should have been happening in that building. It's just we didn't know what happened when that many people were jumping up and down at one time on a 200-year-old floor. Now I do. Don't do it.
Now you do.
Yeah, we moved to a huge event hall after that. And
concrete floor.
Yeah, thankfully we were able to continue to grow that project.
Good.
Yeah.
Through that endeavor, how many cases of champagne do you think you may have gone through?
At this point, I could not even begin to tell you. I mean, like hundreds and hundreds. We were doing it once or twice a month for over a year, and there were weeks I was ordering like 25 cases of champagne, and we would sell out. And
wow,
those parties were like 3 hours long. So
that is phenomenal.
Yeah, thank you. Like, I still can't believe we did it, and like, you're welcome, Louisville. Gave everybody something really cool to do for a few months. Worked with the people we got to do that with were like some of the best people in the city. They're so talented. Yeah.
If there's a night that you're off and you have some free time and you'd like to put on some fancy gold glittery eyeshadow and your nicest clothes, where are you and your friends going to go have dinner? Is it oysters? Are you seeking marble floors? What exactly is the 5-star evening for you guys?
Yeah, it really does depend on my mood, because I am 100% like, I bounce back and forth. I'm like trashy and classy. I want to wear my nicest outfit, but I want to be a bar that kind of smells like pee. And I really.
All right.
I love all aspects of it. So,
You're like the Daniel Craig James Bond. He can dress in a tuxedo, but beat the hell out of someone in the bathroom, right?
Yeah,
just yes, absolutely. Okay.
I've definitely had a $300 meal in my denim jacket that's covered in like horror patches and inappropriate imagery. So I like to do both, but if I want to treat myself, it's seafood and champagne, it's oysters and champagne. I want to go out with some, with friends that are like great for conversation. My this past birthday is like the perfect example of it. I got dressed up. I went out with a couple of like my really amazing like female bartender friends. We went and saw another amazing female bartender, my friend Mimi, at a bar downtown, because they have their raw bars half off on Mondays and half off wine. So we had amazing wine, martinis, we had oysters, like tartare, we had shrimp, like we did the whole thing. And then when we were done being like so classy and fabulous, like I call those my Sex in the City nights. We were like, where should we go next? And we landed on Mag Bar, which is the metal bar in town, like the metal dive bar in town. So like we went from, that was my perfect night, like oysters, champagne, and martinis to Ham's and Kentucky Tavern. That's how I finished. And Jaeger bombs, my other guilty pleasure. So as you can imagine, that hangover was terrible.
Yeah, but you looked great.
I had an amazing time. Like, happy birthday to me. It was great. Unfortunately, my partner was stuck at home with COVID, but I had just had COVID, so I was free to be in the world.
That being one of the worst hangovers ever, have you discovered a trustworthy hangover cure that you go to every time you wake up feeling like the world has ended?
There are levels to this, but like, there's like in the bathtub while you eat cold pizza hangover. There's you can drive to Wendy's hangover. There's I'll pay $20 to have somebody deliver Wendy's to me hangover. But step one is always those hydration packs. It's like with electrolytes and everything. Those are amazing. Those are a lifesaver. Before you go to bed, when you wake up, I'm always dehydrated anyways. So like being able to like get some water down and some electrolytes really, really makes it happen. And then I'm a tried and true, like the cheeseburger. You just need some food that you can like dip in ketchup, a greasy burger. Or we are spoiled here too. My partner works for a company, he gets half off, and the company also owns the best Nashville hot chicken outside of Nashville, Royals Hot Chicken. So we can go get like 3 meals for $14 and just like lay on the couch and eat really spicy. It's not always a great idea for your body, but it's good for your soul.
Some spicy McNuggets.
Oh yeah, spicy tendy tacos. Mm-mm-mm.
Mm-mm-mm.
Yeah, just protein, fat, sugar, electrolytes. If you can figure that out however you want to do it, go for it. And then I like to, mindless TV. I got X-Files, Law and Order SVU, Bob's Burgers helps a hangover immensely. Pedialyte popsicle if you're really hungover, so you don't actually have to drink it. You can just suck on it. It's a pro tip.
Solid advice coming.
Pedialyte popsicles for hangovers. Awesome.
Less technology.
You heard it here. Yeah,
coming up.
You open up a bed and breakfast, and you can serve them for breakfast.
Oh, Mag Bar, the metal bar I was telling you about, they have them in a jar. Well, not the Pedialyte. They have like the hydration electrolyte packs on the bar, and it's like $2 for one to add it to a water or to add it to your cocktail. It's like treat yourself.
Wow. Do they have one for like a Bloody Mary mix?
It's passion fruit flavored, so I wouldn't recommend it. But I'm also like brunch will do you some good. So I'm more of a mimosa girl, but Connor's hangover is usually we'll hear the dog, Bloody Mary, spicy Bloody Mary.
Yep.
Yeah. What's your hangover cure?
Mine?
Yeah, both of you.
I haven't had a hangover in, I can't remember when.
I don't believe you, but I'm proud of you.
Thank you. I don't know. I have a good tolerance. I think the last time that I was pretty, giggly, or I guess you would say drunk, was probably due to the bottle of Tanqueray and juice because it was just going down too smooth.
Mm-hmm.
But I probably did have some Baron Jaeger along with that and a couple of beers or something. But big old sandwich and some warm socks.
Yeah, sandwich.
Mm-hmm.
That
Some hot sauce or something on there.
Yes, all my lows. An Italian sub is my answer for all of life's problems.
Yes, that's kind of a go-to. You go to a sub place, you're not sure what to get the Italian, right? So it's like getting meatloaf at a restaurant. Not sure what to get.
Meatloaf.
Exactly.
Meatloaf in a restaurant, but at the restaurant that I work now, it's like farm to table, and we have a bison farm. They had bison meatloaf on the menu last night.
Ooh.
Amazing.
So good.
So good. Now I just like all I want for the rest of the week is meatloaf.
I like a good meatloaf, not the kind that you're going to cut into and it just crumbles apart because it was like only some bad burger that they tried packing into a loaf. But it's got to be able to, you got to cut it into like slices, almost make a sandwich out of it yourself.
Meatloaf sandwich. Yep.
Mm-hmm.
You can find that around here. We love our meatloaf.
Good.
Like everybody you talk to, their grandma makes the best meatloaf. Like it's one of those.
Oh, and then people start getting into arm wrestling matches on whose grandma makes the best.
Yeah. Meatloaf starts flying.
Gravy up the hands. Start arm wrestling.
I must have missed a lot.
Yeah, that probably sounded weird coming back into that, huh? So
just got a gravy up the hands.
Yeah. You have to listen to the whole thing to understand. You can listen to it later.
Meatloaf.
Yep. Yeah, but I don't really have a hangover recipe just because I guess I stay well hydrated. So I don't wake up with a headache. If I do believe that I was safely drinking a little much, then it's maybe an aspirin and a couple bottles of water before I go to bed. So
not bad.
Proper preparation. Proper prior planning.
That's right. Precisely. Prevents piss poor performance.
That's the one.
There you go.
All right. So on the topic of Louisville as a whole and adventures that can be had, I'm going to do a little bit of a rapid fire question situation to you here. And we're going to go through a list of the 32 best and fun things to do that I found on the Google sphere regarding Louisville. I just want to get a little quick rating. And if you've got something interesting to tell about it, feel free to do so.
Okay.
So
I'm wiggling around after I plug the computer in. Sorry.
Oh, no worries.
But I'm here.
So number 1, the Louisville Slugger Museum and Factory.
Sure. I've never been there because I don't really care about baseball or baseball bats, but it is really cool that all of the baseballs come from here. There's a giant baseball out front. And if you ever wanted a baseball bat with your name on it, it's a good place to go. That's all I got. I don't know. I've never gone there. It's one of those things that's probably cool, but I live here, so I don't care. To be honest.
Yeah, like the Football Hall of Fame, right? Yeah. I've lived here. It's right up the road. Never been to it.
Yeah.
That doesn't tickle my fancy.
Yeah.
The
baseball game. Oh, what'd you say?
The Kentucky Derby Museum.
Yeah, never been there.
Perfect.
That one's easier to know. They race horses. That's also one of those things that's for the people visiting. You don't want to go learn about the Derby in a museum when you get to live here and you actually get to Derby every year.
While we're on that topic, what is your experience with the Derby?
I think for everybody in the hospitality industry, it's love-hate. It's love-hate relationship. I love it. I love a theme. I love a party. I love when you're here during the Derby, you can hear everything. You walk out the door and it is electric. The city is on fire for 2 weeks. that I love. You get a lot of weirdos out. You get a lot of people that never go to restaurants or don't travel. They have no idea how to like be in Publix. Like that's always fun. A lot of bad tippers. People
Big
that
hats.
big hat. Like yeah. See, like I love the hats. I love the cocktails. I love the parties. I love people dressing up. I love. I think if you ask a lot of people, they probably won't be as pumped. But like I love the Derby. I've never gone to the Derby. Because if you're a bartender, like you work on the Derby. But I love everything about, other than like horse racing aside and like what that all means. I do love the like celebration of it and that it's really unique to our city.
You like the Derby days.
I like Derby days.
Yeah.
Yeah, I also have, I look forward to the Derby. We've got a very sweet tradition. Every year, Connor buys me like a bigger and bigger bouquet on the Derby because, we know we're not going to see each other for like 2 weeks because we're so busy. So he's always fine, even though we're always like usually working doubles and we're exhausted and drunk, also because the bars can stay open until 6 on Derby weekend.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So, it's usually like for us, for service industry specifically, it's like you'll work hard, you make your money, and then you go out. And then it's like my community is out and celebrating and they're drunk and they're tipping. Like we just made a bunch of money. We're tipping, we're hanging out, we're like recouping. There's a lot of brands that like do really cool work. Maker's Mark specifically comes to mind. Like they do like Derby reset parties for service industry where you can go and you like have a good meal and you get a massage and you have some free drinks and like just kind of relax afterwards. So it's
Oh wow, that's all put on by Maker's Mark?
Yeah, they've done it a couple
Wow.
of years. It's really cool. So there's you get spoiled as bartender. You get worked a lot, but like Woodford's another one. They usually drop off like really amazing swag bags, and they're like, "Hey, thank you. We know we know what you go through, and like we appreciate you all." And so it is really cool to be in
That's cool.
the Kentucky Derby. Yeah, I mean it's amazing.
Yeah, and let them say thank you because I think Woodford is the premier bourbon for the Kentucky Derby, right?
The official partner for the Kentucky Derby. Yeah. So, and
that's nice that they give back.
It is. Yeah. It's really great. Like, I think there's nights like leading up to it, you'll be bartending and somebody just walks in and they're like, "Hey, here's $100 and also a bunch of like free pizza or something." Like, it's a party.
Oh no, free food?
Yeah.
Oh no.
Oh, bummer. Well, no. There's a lot. Yeah, there's a lot to be said about the Derby, But everybody should do it once if you can.
Cool.
Yeah. Tip your bartender.
Always tip well.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, be polite.
Yeah. What's next on that list?
Coming in at number 3 is the Louisville Mega Cavern.
So cool. That was one of those like I'm mad I waited as long as I did to go. But I think this past year, before COVID, a few friends of mine that are all bartenders. So like we try to get together to do non-drinking related activities. And like one of the things is like we want to learn more about our city. So we went to do that and we went ziplining in the Mega Cavern and it was one of the best days. It was so cool. Kind of terrible.
Oh man, that would be awesome.
It was really fun. It's a really great way to spend a few hours if you're in town. I can't wait to go again.
I would like to put that on the list of requests for next time I'm around. Because just the one picture they have here, yes, please.
It's very cool. You feel like an ant.
That is exactly how I want to spend a weekend. Coming in at number 4, which I'm not exactly sure how exciting this topic's going to be, the Muhammad Ali Center.
It's a beautiful space. It's a great memorial. I don't know if it's a memorial, if it was built while he was, still alive. But friend got married there. They're still married, so that's cool.
Success. Good luck.
Yeah.
Okay, coming in at number 5 is Frankfurt Avenue.
Cute. Yeah, I mean, that's where the Silver Dollar is. Right across the street is one of my other favorite bars in the city, the Hilltop Tavern. Amazing. Food's great. Bartenders are fantastic. Shout out to Chris Rojas. He's one of the best in the city, and he sold me my RV. Yeah, it's great. If it's a beautiful day and you want to go out for a stroll and do a little bar hop, there's a lot of really cool restaurants. We've got a really cool craft deli down there. There's a great wine store. It's a street with some businesses on it, but you could find a good thing to do there.
Perfect. Cave Hill Cemetery coming in at number 6.
You've been there. That's the big boy.
I have been.
When the weather changes, the locals go when the weather changes because it's that beautiful. It's the biggest. I can't fathom a larger cemetery. It's immaculately kept. There's a famous magician buried there. Muhammad Ali is buried there. The colonel from of KFC fame is buried there. And and there's a really large military cemetery in there and stuff. It's beautiful. Go for a drive if you don't, it's really cool.
It is a very beautiful space.
Yeah, you don't usually go visit someone and they're like, let's go to the cemetery, but we do that here. It's gorgeous.
Yeah, I think that's probably the first place you took me.
Yeah, 100%.
Which, thank you, because it is beautiful and huge, and paying respects to KFC, the one and only Mr. Colonel Sanders. Was very nice.
Absolutely.
So we're going to skip number 7 here because it's Churchill Downs, and we already kind of discussed that. So coming in at number 8 is the Kentucky Science Center, which I also have experienced, but I'd like to hear it from you.
Yeah, I mean, that's fun. That's it's definitely geared more towards kids, but if you're a kid at heart, you're going to have a great time. And, if you want to get a little stoned and, have fun and learn some cool stuff, it's really cool. It's very well done. You can go and, you can spend hours there. It's very exploratory. And if you've never just, been an adult hanging out with kids in, a safe, consensual, not weird way, it's really fun.
JoJo's saying my mic is quiet, so I'm going to try to fix that. Hopefully that is better. Let me know, JoJo. Disclaimer on the Kentucky Science Center. It is nothing compared to COSI that we have the privilege of holding here in Columbus, Ohio. It is
that's true.
Puny, but it is also a lot of fun.
Yeah.
All right. Coming in next in this semi-rapid fire is the Big Four Bridge.
Yeah, it's amazing. It's so fun. I love where I live so much that you say things and I get a little emotional for a minute for no real reason. But yeah, it's this huge bridge and there's a huge park. It's riverfront, waterfront park. That's where we hold Forecastle Festival. There's really cool free concert series in the summers with food trucks and everything that go on there. We've got all kinds of events. And then you can, not that this sounds particularly enticing, but you can walk to Indiana. It's this big walking bridge, and it's really cool. It's lit up at night, and there's music, and buskers are down there, and you can walk over, and there's some other stuff on the other side of the river. So it's it's a good date spot.
And that was one of the things that Alyssa loved when she was down there with you. She's like, we got to walk. My God, that's awesome.
I know.
We saw homeless people. I'm like, probably not. Maybe you did. I don't know.
I guess the youths.
Yeah.
The youths. All right, coming in at number 10, the Belle of Louisville. This seems to be a boat.
So badly to go on the Belle of Louisville. They do all kinds of events and dinner theater. Friends of ours got married on the Belle. Yeah, it's a little old school boat. They keep it up, like, keep it in really good condition, and they do. Goes up and down.
Is it an old paddle boat?
Yeah, I think so. It's like the mill thing on the back of it.
Yep, paddle boat. Okay.
It's cool, on a beautiful night, you're walking down the river, you see the bell go by. It feels kind of magical.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah.
That does sound like an awesome ride. Put that on the list also.
Yeah.
Coming in at 11 is another museum, so maybe something that you have never seen or don't care to, but the Conrad Caldwell House Museum, which, judging by the picture, looks like a beautiful location. So, do you know of this? Have you heard about this?
That sounds familiar. That's all I got.
Perfect. All
Sorry,
right.
Caldwell, cool things.
Tying into number one regarding baseball, something that none of us care about. Have you seen a Louisville Bats game? And do they have a Diamond Dog night? Because if not, they can just not.
I was just talking about Diamond Dog night last night. We don't have a Diamond Dog night. We do have they do a special hot dog thing, but it's not as cool as ours. I have been to a Bats game. It's kind of cool. It wasn't a get my sports mixed up. We just moved. No, we didn't. We built a soccer stadium. Our soccer team and baseball team used to play out of the same stadium, but we just got a really cool soccer stadium. If you ask some people, like our mother, it looks like a dead cockroach. She's not wrong, but it is really nice. Yeah, but yeah, Bats game's great. We've got really cheap margaritas there. Just go. I always say I only go to the baseball games for the hot dogs and the butts because baseball players have the best booties. But it's really fun to have a day off and it's nice out. Us bartenders see a lot of sunshine, so go get some treats and a good drink and hang out with your friends in the sun. It's a winner. That's a number one.
No, that is number 12 or something. Although we can't guarantee that this list is in any particular order. And this ties into that bridge. Just at the foot of the bridge is the Louisville Waterfront Park.
It's a really big piece of grass. I think it's a well curated park. There's in the weather you can rent weird tandem bikes and stuff like that. That's pretty cool. There's a small kind of water park for kids. That's really cool. And again, that's where we hold Forecast Bowl Festival. Got to, you get to see. I got to hang out with all my friends and see the Killers this summer, last year in Waterfront Park. So for me, it's hell yeah, Daft Punk, R.I.P. Got to see them there. There's a lot of really magic happens down there, but on a normal day, it's just grass.
The 21C Museum Hotel is next.
Yeah, that's right. I've taken you there. The restaurant that I work at, Barn 8 restaurant on Hermitage Farm, is actually owned by the 21C family. It's a really beautiful hotel. It's a hotel. But there's a really amazing restaurant in there, and there is it's kind of like a split level fine art, not fine art, but modern art museum. It's really, the curators do a really cool job with that. And because it is in the lobby of a hotel, you can technically walk in and look at art 24 hours a day. So that's a really cool museum.
Oh, that's cool. I like that.
Yeah. Sometimes, it's really expensive to get into an art museum. And if you're downtown, pop in, you can see some really cool stuff.
Yeah.
Nice. I like art.
I like art.
Yeah. It's I think both times we've gone, it's been at the start of the evening before we've gone out drinking, and it's a really nice way to just kind of walk in and see some art and be kind of quiet into yourself and kind of just enjoy some beautiful displays, and then prep yourself mentally to go out and have way too much bourbon and pace the streets at 5 a.m.
Absolutely.
So I personally give 2 thumbs up.
Yeah.
Next is the Beckley Creek Park.
Nope. No clue.
Next.
Yeah.
All right, the Louisville Zoo. Does it compare at all to the Columbus Zoo?
Not at all, but it's a zoo. So
So you have that.
We got one. There are giraffes there. Yeah, it's fine. It's a good way to spend a day. It's cute to go with my friends who have kids and, watch their kids have a blast. But I always, whenever I'm at the zoo, my friends probably are just annoyed by me because I'm like, well, the Columbus Zoo, we have this, and sucks that you don't, even though I live here and it's my zoo now too. But yeah, the Columbus Zoo is amazing.
Yes.
The Louisville Zoo.
Number 17, the Whitehall House and Gardens.
Yeah.
Next, the KFC Yum Center.
Who cares? It's probably our biggest venue. It's where the U of L basketball team plays. I think I've done some like smaller events there, but it's mostly like, if Madonna, if like that's where Elton John played, and the basketball team plays. So it's big.
Number 19, the Fraser History Museum.
So cool. It's kind of like a natural history museum, local history. They always have a really cool section on bourbon. And we get kind of like exhibits on loan and stuff. Like I think a year or two ago, there's a really cool White Christmas exhibit there. It had like all the costumes and like, different things from the set, and it was all the information about like how that movie was made and its impact since. So that was really cool. We're not that old, but this is comparatively old city to some others. So we do have a fairly rich history, and the Fraser History Museum also does a pretty good job of like celebrating the people that made Louisville happen and the people that were here before people decided to make this Louisville and steal the land and whatever. So they do a pretty cool job of kind of really showcasing like our true history.
Well, I'm glad that there's still people out there that aren't rewriting history books and hiding unfortunate facts, because that seems to be a common trend. The Speed Art Museum.
It's great. It's huge. It's beautiful. It's amazing. That's like our. I really love. They do a really cool event. That's called the Speed After Dark, and they usually have like sponsors. They've got a really amazing kitchen in there. There's different. They, I think, spend a lot of time trying to be inclusive. They bring in all types of artists. Really, just kind of helping to elevate the voices that are quieted usually in art, and it's really impressive. A lot of focus on like queer, femme, and Black artists there.
I have not been to that one. Put it on the list. I'll be writing this down.
Yes, put it on the list.
Yeah, put it on the list. They also, I really, I'm a huge film nerd, and like, going to the theater is my favorite thing. And they have a really small, cool kind of like art house theater that they do like student films and, old viewings of films, like Criterion Collection, just like things that are like culturally important and really cool documentary releases and stuff. So if there's something you're waiting for and nobody's playing it, they might be, which is really cool.
Next up is the Louisville Palace.
Hell yeah, I saw Lizzo there.
Oh, dope. That looks like the exact venue that I would want to see Lizzo at.
It was honestly like going to church. I don't think I've ever felt so high coming like out of a show. It was really cool. If you get a chance to go, I mean, Lizzo's already fun, but when you get to watch her do it, like she didn't stop dancing for 2 hours. It was amazing. Everybody in there was just like having the time of their lives. It was one of the coolest things. It's a great spot to go to a show.
Number 22, following a common trend on this list, is the Kentucky Museum of Art and Craft. Have you seen it? Have you heard about it?
I have heard about it. I've never gone there, but they also do a lot of like, we have a lot of, we're part of Appalachia, and we've got a really cool, farming history and stuff. So a lot of those things was like small different like craftsmanships and stuff are showcased there, and I think that they do a really cool job too. Like there's like cooking and broom making and like weaving and stuff like that. That's like really important to our history and like our culture here in Kentucky, but that you wouldn't normally find in an arts museum.
Broom making sounds like the exact kind of exhibit that I want to experience.
Yeah, I'll give you a little. I've got probably like where there's one. I got brooms all over.
I am glad that your boo boo missed your broom tattoo.
Yeah, I'm like, it was funny. It was like 5 minutes before I got stabbed by a wine glass. Some guests were asking me about my broom tattoo. I would have been really upset if that smashed. So yeah, she's safe.
Yay!
Yay!
Broom tattoo checks in safe. 23 Old Louisville.
That's where I live. It's so beautiful. I don't think it's it's really unique to be able to live in a city, but like walk outside, and I mean these homes are all from the late 1700s, early 1800s. They're all, a lot of these have been split into like apartments and stuff, so it's a really lively neighborhood. I've got a bunch of really cool neighbors. It's a fairly diverse neighborhood, becoming more diverse. I love living here. We're actually moving out of the neighborhood in about 2 weeks, and increasingly, we're barely moving out of the neighborhood. We're moving like 3 minutes away, but we're not going to be in Old Louisville anymore. I think we're, starting to be pretty sad about it. I mean, you can't see anything, but just like look at that beautiful, huge house, and there's trees everywhere, and it's, you want to. The whole neighborhood's probably haunted. It's amazing.
You always did enjoy that.
Yep, did and do.
Yeah, every time I'm down there
Still,
and just walk just the 20 feet from the car to your house, it's like you just always have to stop and take a moment and look at all the houses around you, because they're just absolutely beautiful, and they don't build things like that anymore.
No,
it's very. Like they used to.
It's I really.
Coming in next year is the Kentucky Center for the Performing Arts.
Also great. I've seen some really cool like theater performances there. Again, they do like a lot of really small theater groups and stuff can perform there. They also do a lot of let's see, I don't know. I think the last thing I got to a lot of like conferences and stuff that go on there. I think the last thing I was there for was my friend's like kind of like cultural, or I don't know the right way to say what they do, but it's called the Kentucky to the World, and they do kind of like media campaigns and focus on things that are like really unique to Kentucky and broadcast them so like for everybody to kind of learn about. So got to be a part of one of their events, and it was female chefs kind of talking about like the unique food culture that we get in Kentucky due to our like agriculture and our location and stuff. And it was like a female and food empowerment panel, and it was one of the most inspiring things I got to sit in on. So they performing arts, it's like all of the arts is really cool. They do really cool work there.
Locust Grove.
I could be wrong, but I think it's like a historical house or something. Again, I think that's like a place people get married. I think I was at a really cool wedding there.
That sounds about right. It's a site that includes both fantastic farmland and a gorgeous mansion.
Yeah, it's kind of close to where I work. It's like down on the river and really beautiful old Victoria, old homestead. It's cool.
Coming in at 26, the Kentucky Kingdom and Hurricane Bay.
Hell yeah! Most people don't know this, but we have an amusement park here. It's like 5 minutes down the road from me. I live in downtown Louisville, Kentucky, and there's an amusement park up the road. It's cool.
It's always throwing me off guard because we'll be riding down the freeway. I'm like, wait a second, is that a roller coaster? Didn't we just pull out of your driveway? Like,
Yeah, it's really cool. I think one of the best summers I've ever had in my life. All my friends and I got season passes, and it would just be like, you wake up in the morning, it's like, hey, who's off today? We're going to Hurricane Bay. And there's the big kahuna is the wave pool. I'm terrified of it. I don't go in there anymore, but it's like we've got alarms set on our phones. We got to go catch the big shakuna, as we call her, Kentucky queendom, as we refer to it. It's like, I mean, you want to have a good day. So, and they have cabanas you can rent with a mini fridge, so you can bring your own alcohol into the park and put in your mini fridge. And you can pay $1 to get a refillable soda where you can fill it up anywhere in the park. You can spend all day there. It's amazing. It's amazing.
wow, that's actually reasonable prices, and it's right downtown.
That's like
Toss
30
it on the list.
season part or season pass.
Toss that on the list.
Yeah. It does get some hate because a few years ago, it is like one of those horror stories. Like a poor unfortunate woman really did get her legs cut off. And then the park closed because it was being sued a lot. And then like they opened back up, and then COVID happened, so they're bankrupt. But there's actually just
Quick
some
pause.
new.
You went crazy robot there. Bring it back to the horror story.
Yeah, terrible thing happened. A person really did get their like legs cut off in a like a machine mouth
Hopscotch. Okay, never mind. Not hopscotch.
tap dancing competition. It was aggressive. So, and then after some legal troubles and bankruptcy and stuff, and it was kind of like they didn't have money to really keep the park up and whatever. But I just read an article that I can't think of who, but it's like somebody who does like Knott's Berry Farm, or someone who does something like some team that's been responsible for a really successful amusement park has just either partnered in or bought it. So they're kind of expecting a lot of improvements, and it'll hopefully get back to its glory because it's really fun.
Do they still have a drop tower? Because if I recall correctly, it was a drop tower where a steel cable snapped and cut the poor young woman's legs off.
True. There is still a drop tower, I believe. I could be wrong. I don't remember. We also have like things that goes up really high in the swings. I don't do that either. I stay on the ground. I'll hold everybody's margaritas. It's fine. Oh yeah. Pro tip, because they have bars in there. Probably not a good idea, but they do. So they won't sell you a shot, but if you can like technically order a tequila without the margarita.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Pro
tips. Patron minus the margarita.
Pro tips. Hashtag Patron. That's all I got to know.
Hashtag Patron. I know I sound like a lush, but this is why you invited me on here, and it is my job.
No, this is definitely.
It is your profession.
It is my profession.
And we like booze too, so don't censor yourself in any way.
Yeah, part of that's genetic.
Yeah, absolutely. Genetics. The Hlavas. We all curse a lot.
Truly.
And drink a lot. Harvest. The place to eat. Shrugs. Moving on.
I know it's just like I don't think it wouldn't. I'm not saying anything bad about it. I just wouldn't send anybody there specifically. I'm sure that it's really great food, and I know it's a popular spot for brunch, but I've never gone there, so I can't really speak on it.
This is actually, I did kind of scroll through this list before we got started today, and this is the moment that I was most excited for. The Waverly Hills Sanatorium.
Mm-hmm. If you are into the spooky, the dark, the mysterious, history, anything, like 100% go. You can go for a day tour, but I highly recommend going for a night tour. You have to book it a couple months in advance. But if if you're into that at all, it is really cool, really fascinating. The tour guides are amazing there. They do really cool work. The preservation that they do on the property is really cool. And then at the end of the day, like if you want to go get creeped out, I feel like everybody in town has a ghost story about there. They do, ghost tours and stuff. And I've never been so spooked as going on an actual tour there and like trying to like actively participate in what was happening around me. And it's a really unique place, and it's go get scared. It's cool. It's a small family that's like doing all the work there to kind of like keep that history alive. So support them and take their tours. It's really fun.
Nice. You said Waverly or whatever? I think I've seen that.
Yeah, so Waverly Hill Sanitarium. It's often included on lists of like the most haunted places in America. It's been on all the ghost shows. It was a tuberculosis hit like really hard everywhere, but really hard in Kentucky, and that was like our main. I think there's one here and one in Lexington. We're like the main tuberculosis hospital, so it's like has a really high, unfortunate death count. And if you're interested in any of that, like you really get to see like what it was like to be, unfortunately to like, have been a patient there or anything.
That kind of reminds me of the Lima Tuberculosis Hospital in Lima, Ohio, that we got the chance to explore. It is now very much abandoned, and I think the only haunting-esque sounds that we heard there was the building falling apart above us and below us. Yeah. So I would like to definitely experience a building like that is more intact and be scared shitless. So toss it on the list.
Toss on the list. They also do, I think that they still do it. They do a haunt every year. That's always like very well people talk about. It's really fun, and that's like their biggest fundraiser. All the money that they bring in from the haunt is what kind of goes into the restoration of the property for like the next year. So it's really cool.
Excuse me. The Mayan Cafe.
I almost said I didn't want to like speak. I don't want to say anything out of turn as a person in this community, but I was gonna say don't go to Harvest, but like right up the road is Mayan Cafe, and that's one of the coolest restaurants in the city. It is like traditional Mayan cuisine in the heart of like downtown Kentucky. It is fantastic. It feels weird to like say it's to brag about a salad, but like the best salad I've ever had in my life. Like you don't think you like lima beans, go to Mayan Cafe. They'll change your mind on just about everything. Everything is so amazing. And it's just, it's small business, family owned, family trying to preserve and share their own culture with everybody here.
I like food. I'm there.
Delicious.
Sick Nick, if you are still out there listening, I hope you're keeping track of this list, because you're coming with me and we're going to do all these things.
Mm-hmm.
And anything that fires podcast trip down to Louisville, Kentucky. Stay tuned. Number 30 on the list is the
good times. I'm in.
That's the spirit, because you have to be in. The Brown Hotel, which looks beautiful in this one image. Do you know anything about this?
It is beautiful. It's got a great like old school cocktail bar in it. The Brown, I believe, no, I'm gonna say that's like the one with the Al Capone ties, but I believe that's a Seelbach hotel. But the Brown Hotel, the hot brown sandwich, that's where that comes from. It's like our sandwich of Kentucky. So if you're on a
What was that ding? Because it hurt my eardrums immensely.
Oh, I'm so sorry. I'm a working woman. My phone is like going off and I'm ignoring it. So now it's coming through my computer.
No worries. Just curious. Did I interrupt you? Because I feel as though I may have.
Oh, no. I was just, it's the home of the hot brown. So we're the, I think, the hot brown is fine. It's like toasted bread with bacon and turkey and a tomato and like cheese sauce. So like it's not really my jam, but if you're trying to really do Kentucky up, you might as well stop by the Brown Hotel to get their famous hot brown sandwich.
That sounds amazing.
Yeah.
Let's see here. We're closing in at the end of the list. We got 2 more to go. The Bardstown. The Bardstown.
Oh, okay. I think that is saying it's like a dinner theater place.
That's what it sounds like. A Shakespeare-inspired name and concept.
Yeah, we've also got a Bardstown Bourbon Company and like Bardstown, Kentucky, where a lot of really great whiskey comes from. I think I've been there once or twice for trivia.
Events.
Trivia. I've been there for events, yeah. That's all I got.
And closing out the list, Tom Sawyer State Park.
Beautiful. A lot of trees. I don't know. Go hiking. Really cool, like camping and stuff in there. It's a massive, beautiful park. You know, if
What
you're
is
in
the park that we camped like on top of a hill mountain in like 20-degree weather?
You know, I don't know. Couldn't tell you where we were at all. Very likely
Sorry, there's
could
a
have.
lot of bourbon in that coffee.
Hmm?
There was a lot of bourbon in that coffee, in that mystery park. So
Yeah. I have no idea where we went. We drove up a lot of hills. So it could have been. When we illegally camped in December without having any idea really what that meant, and probably weren't okay afterwards.
Well, I'm sorry I never took you winter camping. I should have got you prepped for that.
Well,
you know, I think given proper prior planning, we would have been plenty prepared, being raised by you. But it was just kind of like, I think we have a tent and a bottle of bourbon and some cans of soup. Let's go camping.
We were.
Oh, you're good. Yeah.
And we were like, let's go camping.
I think I slept for like 20 minutes that night. It was mostly shivering. We did well. Yeah. Good fire.
Yeah. 4 people in a 2-person tent trying to get some body heat without being weird.
Great time. Like, all right, everybody stay 2 inches apart, but don't go further than 2 inches apart.
Yeah, lean in. Breathe on my neck.
All right. That concludes the rapid-esque fire of the 32 best and fun things to do in Louisville, Kentucky. Coming to the end of the interview type situation here on the Anything That Fires episode 4 podcast. I'm going to give the mic to Papa. Do you have any questions for Bree before we start to close this interview session out?
I didn't prepare any. So,
okay, well,
in your Instagram, I see a lot of your stories are recipes or what, not recipes, but what's on the menu. Who comes up with most of those?
So I guess, hold on one second. My friend is here. Come
Yeah, come on in. Say hi.
Okay, he's here.
Hello.
So those are, I guess you guys asked me a lot of questions about like what I've done to get to this point and like, you know, my time in Kentucky and stuff. But like really right now what I'm doing is me and 2 of my very close friends, this was just happy accident. We all worked together. The restaurant bar that we ran closed down, and we realized that we really just weren't ready to stop working with each other. Like somehow we found like the perfect trio of like how to do business. So we made as kind of a joke, just whatever, like, hey, let's start doing some pop-ups and see if people let us, do some little things around town. And that was, we're coming up on a year of that. And so now you can find Poco 502 or Poco Pop-Ups. It's POCO, doing about 2 events a week here in Kentucky. We usually are either building our own kitchen outside at a bar patio area, or we're like cooking out of other people's kitchens. And we, all those recipes and stuff that you see, those come from our chef Connie Hartsock. She's the best. And then it's just awesome. Myself. I say I'm like the beverage person, beverage bay. I do our over cocktails. And then our partner, Matt Pope. So we, as of about a month ago, we are officially recognized by the state of Kentucky and the U.S. government as an actual functioning business. So
awesome.
I am,
Congratulations.
Part owner and my own business that I get to run with my friends. And it's really like all I could ask for. So yeah, we have a blast.
Yeah, because that article about pop-ups, who put that out?
So that was the Leo magazine. It's one of our like independent.
That's okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was well done.
Yeah, it was really exciting to be like asked to do that and be interviewed for that, and definitely, pop-ups have been like happening everywhere for a long time, but when you're basically overnight your entire industry and your job is like kind of taken from you, you don't really know what to do. So to be able to like create and build a brand and a business in a time where like people are really struggling, I feel really lucky. And I look forward to it every week. We've got a pop-up tomorrow. So
that's awesome. Where's the pop-up tomorrow, and what are you having?
We are going to be at Pints and Union tomorrow, which is really cool, like old world pub style bar and restaurant in New Albany, Indiana. And we are serving some we focus on, we say it's like world inspired, like comfort food, stoner food. So we've got a really cool, like spicy miso quesadilla, and we're doing, I don't know. We have so many pop-ups. I get confused. I'm really excited. Connie did like this really cool apple soup that we're serving tomorrow. Like that sounds crazy, and I'm so excited. So yeah, you can keep up with us.
That sounds delicious.
Yeah, keep up with us and our menus at Poco502 on Instagram.
Awesome. Yeah, I'm always seeing them and seeing like a picture of a slider or a taco or something. I'm just like, I need to quit looking at this because I'm hungry. Yep.
I share your page with everybody at work, and it's just like, it'll be 9 a.m. I'm like, hey, look at all these beautiful meals that my sister is posting. And they're like, so I know it's like 2 hours early, but can we do lunch?
Yeah. I'm always hungry. Yeah, and I'm excited. Like tomorrow's International Women's Day, so we're doing a little celebration of that. Our friend Faith, who runs a winery in Indiana, is gonna be doing the event with us. We're gonna have cocktails, food, and just kind of celebrating like what women do for this industry. They're like small, independent owned, like female owned business.
Awesome.
Yeah.
So you took my last prepared question right out of my mouth. Usually here we like to ask after all of our prepared questions, what is something that you would like for the audience to know that we haven't asked you up to this point? And you just, you tackled that. So I'm going to come up with a new one on the fly here. What is next? What is the next big endeavor for Brianna Hlava down in the culinary and bartending extravaganza that is Louisville, Kentucky? Do you have a plan, or are you just going with the flow?
Both. We had a pretty good plan, and then COVID hit. We were in the process of opening our own, as they say in the biz, like brick and mortar. Like we were getting into our own spot, the three of us and another friend of ours, to really kind of go at it on our own. And I'm, of course, like very grateful for what we've done in this year, and we had to kind of hang that up on the line. So we're in no rush because we love doing the pop-ups. It's kind of, I think it works for us right now, and we're still living in these like very uncertain times. So especially in our industry, it's really hard to make those decisions. So we eventually will be taking this business and putting it somewhere so we can really offer like the best experience that we want to and we're able to, and really be able to invest in like what we love doing. And until then, I think we're just gonna be rocking out the way that we have been. Yeah, I think that is the plan. There are like lots of steps in that plan and a lot of possibilities, and we're really fortunate here to have like really amazing, talented friends that not only do we want to work with them, but they want to work with us. So it feels cool. It's like possibilities are endless right now. So
that is exciting, and being able to grow something during a time when so many things were closing, I think you guys have a good mixture, good chemistry. Where I'm looking forward to seeing greater things, and very proud and excited. That's awesome.
Yeah, I'm like tearing up right now. I love them.
Hats off to you guys.
Yeah, thank you.
And thank you for making us so hungry. I can't wait to be down there and experience some of that firsthand instead of just, through my screen. Oh,
Yeah, well, down in April, we've got a pop up that Saturday, so you'll be able to be a part of it.
I can't wait. I think that just about concludes the interview portion of this. Thank you so much for answering all of our questions and doing that little fun rapid fire situation. And I do hope that everyone in your industry within Louisville, Kentucky is just so pleased to have you within their ropes. And it's very exciting, even from our perspective, so many hours away. We're always rooting for you and excited to see what you guys are doing next. And just our mouths are watering. So
thank you. Come
Absolutely.
down so I can take you guys around.
We will.
Absolutely.
And if you'd like to stick around, we do have two just quick-ish news stories here to conclude our little podcast today. One I think you'll find great interest in, and the other I think I already shared a link with you, so you may have a little bit of knowledge of it before we go forward. But first, something exciting in the UFO community, ETs, little grays, everything in between. It is an AI learning consumer accessible network that has popped up. It is called SkyHub, and it's offering basically for everybody that's interested in following UFOs and just anything that might be weird happening in the sky to take any technology they have available to them, integrate it into the SkyHub network, and in doing so, we're going to have a worldwide perspective to watch the skies for UFOs and possible extraterrestrial activity. So
that is
you
cool.
can build a tracker with them. Let's see, they're going to have a network of civilian-owned sensor arrays that are going to utilize machine learning to catalog anomalous events and share this data with researchers across the world. So with everything going on with the Pentagon disclosing classified UFO information and, just everything that's coming out with F-16 pilots chasing tic-tac objects over the oceans and everything in between. I think that's pretty exciting that we might, with this and with everybody that's interested, be able to start gathering an immense database of information that we can actually, maybe start to figure out what exactly is bounced around the skies at night that no one knows how to explain.
Awesome.
Is this something that
awesome.
you guys would like to hop into if it is available to everybody? Would you want to put a camera on your roof and watch the sky for visiting aliens or whatever?
100%.
Yeah, why not? I'd rather put a camera on my roof than in my bathroom. But, being part of that network would be pretty neat.
Put a camera on your roof. Don't be probed. Don't put one in your butt. Something like that. Okay.
With a big sign next to it says "Don't probe me. I'm just looking." Right, something like that. That way, when the aliens go, "Hey, he's watching," and go, "Well, he doesn't want probed," yeah, it'll be okay.
Yeah, that's fair. We will respect his wishes.
Yep.
All right, and we're gonna see a lot more come of that, I'm sure, in the next coming months. It was just kind of announced just this last week, so probably going to keep an eye on it going forward and hopefully see amazing things come out of it. So fingers crossed on that front. But the big story for rocket watchers, people obsessed with space, anybody that enjoys Elon Musk being an eccentric and kind of out of place billionaire in the world. As we talk about frequently, he's been working on these Starship prototypes, which is the vehicle that he wishes to someday use to send humans to Mars, the moon, and other places, basically anywhere in the solar system. They've been going through a prototype situation down in Boca Chica, Texas. They've started with what looks like a water tower flying through the sky doesn't make sense to some vehicles that look like larger grain silos flying through the air that also does not make sense when you see it. Looks like CGI, looks like you're watching a sci-fi movie. They started a flight test program here about 2 to 3 months back using their more refined prototype vehicle that is the Starship that has fins and all the control surfaces that it may fly up to 10 to 12 kilometers and do a little flip, fall back down towards the earth, flip back around, and hopefully land vertically so that one day we can utilize that technology to put humans on other worldly surfaces. We had SN8 that almost landed but had a fuel pressure issue, so it came down pretty aggressively and blew up. It was didn't have the chance
in the
to
same manner.
long. And then just a couple weeks after that, because they are turning around so quick, we had SN9 take a flight, and that came down. It would flip from its horizontal to vertical position with 2 engines, but only one fired. So that one came down and crashed in a giant ball of fire in about a 30-degree angle. And everybody that's been watching all this progress, just kind of clapped, laughed it off, and sat back excited for the next flight, which we had the pleasure of watching this past Thursday, I believe.
Yes.
Kind of blanking on the day now. Was that Thursday?
I think so.
So, SN10, the third prototype vehicle that had all these control surfaces and, is looking most like a large dildo object flying through the sky. This guy, after an initial abort around, it's probably about around 11 a.m., Elon tweeted that they were going to adjust some parameters within the software and to try for another test flight because one of the engines was giving out just a little bit too much thrust. But I think he sat back and was like, you know what? Let's just let the vehicle do what it wants to do. So for you guys here, I'm going to do a little screen share and we're going to watch some beautiful 4K footage just real quick here of the Starship. Let me know if you guys can see that.
Nope.
Nope. Oh,
But it's going to be SN10.
that it is. Here, hold on. I can hit the right buttons. So yeah, SN10, serial number 10, Starship number 10. I know that looks crazy at the moment, but just a moment here. This guy, how's that?
Yeah.
Perfect.
All right. So this is courtesy of Everyday Astronaut in partnership with Lab Padre and Cosmic Perspective. Thank you guys for the footage. And this is just a quick little 4K clip of it coming in its belly dive or belly flop maneuver, however you want to refer to it. And
yeah, this is a 165-foot tall structure.
Yes, about a 16-story building, flipping around and just dancing through the sky. And we were just so fortunate to see this guy land this time. Third time's the charm. So this 16-story building made out of stainless steel, filled with liquid methane and oxygen, mostly gently touched down, did a little jump. The smoke cleared, and everybody, like I'd say probably about 500,000 people tuning into the live stream, was just
We're
jumping and
extremely elated.
Yes. And so basically, this is proving their capabilities for this crazy maneuver in hopes that this crazy vehicle will be able to, at some point, become human-rated and take people into space. Now, this is just the second stage of the rocket. So this is just the part that sits on top. Now,
8 minutes later.
Just sitting there, relaxing, everybody's celebrating. It decided that it wanted to fly again. So it looks like we had an oxygen tank failure. Most of the bottom portion of the rocket is just one giant liquid oxygen tank. And it looks like due to the aggressive landing and bounce, the structural integrity was weakened, and it just decided to do a little jump there.
Well, they're not even worried about it landing at this point. At this point, their focus is on the re-entry belly flop maneuver and then coming back vertical to be able to land. As far as landing gear and being perfect, they're whatever. They'll get to that at some point. So if the thing blows up, they're okay as long as their data is getting better for all the other stuff, which I just think is impressive.
Exactly. And these landing legs that they're utilizing at the moment are very, what's the word I'm looking for?
Rudimentary.
Thank you very much. They are just these pieces of steel that flip out and will crush to absorb the impact. So they're not a permanent solution. They're just for this test situation here. But coming up, if you guys are watching this picture, you will see right here these little legs. 3 of them came out and latched, and the other 3, I believe there's 6, there may be 9, but about half of the legs came out and didn't latch. So they were just flipping back and forth there as it tried to come in for a landing, a successful landing, but that is why it landed and was hanging out to the side, because that side of the vehicle just didn't have landing legs. So it touched down on the structure of the vehicle, did a little 10-foot hop, landed back down, and after about 8 minutes said, "It's been a nice flight. We're out of here."
Had a little bit of an attitude.
After that explosion, they just yesterday they were cutting it up, putting it on trucks, cleaning up the area. Monday there's a road closure to bring out SN11. And its big brother's going to roll out to the pad. They're going to do some fuel tests, some static fire tests with the engines, and as soon as the FAA approves and they have everything in line, they're going to fly yet another one and see what they can do with it.
Oh, yeah.
So
incredible.
Looking forward to it.
Good. We've been nerding out a lot with this. I had the chance to call Dad, and he was sitting at home doing some recovery, and I said, "You need to tune in and watch this right now." So he did, and I was sitting there. I pulled up into the parking lot of the apartment complex like 2 minutes before it launched. So I just whipped out my laptop, opened it up, was sitting in the drive-through. I was like, okay, I'm gonna run inside, grab a beer, crack it open. I'm gonna watch this shit real quick, and just, I've been following it so closely. It came down, it landed, and I was just like jumping up and down out of my seat, punching the steering wheel. And Riley called me screaming. He was like, "Holy shit, it landed! It's crazy!" And as I was sitting there talking to him, like, my computer's buffering, and I was like, wasn't getting a clean feed, but all of a sudden there was an explosion. I was like, "Oh, they must be doing a replay from the last Starship." But then finally it buffers and is playing, and it's just gone. It is no longer on the horizon. So I'm like, "Holy shit, it just..." But a lot of jokes going around. They're like, it'd be a lot easier to clean up if we just hit the explosion button. So, and then, everybody, "Oh, I want to see landing. Oh, I'd like to see an explosion. Elon Musk, hold my beer." So
Yeah.
a lot of that going around.
You can see both.
Yeah, absolutely. So
what do they call it? An unscheduled, rapid unscheduled
disassembly. Yeah. So instead of saying, "Oops, we had a mistake," "Oh man,
it blew up." That's just
rapid unscheduled disassembly. So anybody that likes space, is excited by the idea of aliens or life out there elsewhere, or just the imagery of humans walking out other worlds, Bigfoot, Loch Ness Monster, the Chupacabra, anything that is out of the normal line of logical thought, anybody that likes mystery and dreams, just tune in and follow along with SpaceX while they're just building these gigantic machines to take us out there among the stars, and be excited for the human future.
It is exciting.
Fancy.
Absolutely.
I mean, just think, once they start having places on Mars and the moon, they're going to need a good bartender up there.
Send me to space. I'm ready.
That's the spirit.
There you go.
And I think that is all the news I had for us today. Does anybody have any closing things they'd like to speak of? Anything exciting going on in their week looking forward, or anything like that?
Not particular.
Nope.
It'll be a big year. Do it.
That's awesome. All right. Well, I hope everything in the week goes well for everybody. I hope that
Same here.
little pop up that you got coming on tomorrow for what is it? World Women's Day? Is that what we're looking forward to?
Women's Day.
Well, everybody, hop on Instagram and follow Poco502 to make your mouth water and be excited for everything food and booze related. Thank you for tuning in today at Anything That Fires. We stream every Sunday at 4 p.m. Eastern, talking about science, firearms, the day-to-day, booze, food, and anything else in between. So thank you for tuning in. Hope to see you again soon, and I hope you enjoy your week.
Enjoy.
See you, everybody. Just as soon as I find where everything is.
Bye.
I usually go smoother than this. Alrighty. See you, everybody.